is up, my friends? How are you guys doing today? I hope everybody had a great weekend. It was Mother's Day this past weekend. I hope you called your mom, took her out for dinner, got her some flowers, did something nice for her, because if it wasn't for her, you wouldn't be here. So, I hope that you guys had a wonderful Mother's Day. To all the mothers out there that have, that this past weekend was for, happy belated Mother's Day. You deserve it. Guys, thanks for stopping in, hanging out. We're going to be talking about a movie from 1980 today. Before we get started, hit that like and subscribe button. And we're going to be talking about Flash Gordon, directed by Mr. Mike Hodges. You may know some other works of Mr. Hodges. He made a film in 1987 called A Prayer Before Dying. And he also made Get Carter in 1971, the original Get Carter, not the new one with Sylvester Stallone, or the remake with Sylvester Stallone. But this stars Sam Jones, Max von Sydow, Timothy Dalton, Brian Bless. This is like a seminal work of science fiction cinema for the early 80s, late 70s. You know, we had stuff like Star Wars. We had stuff like, Star Trek back in the 70s and things like that. And then 1980 comes along, and here comes Flash Gordon. Not only does this movie have a killer soundtrack by the legendary band Queen, but it also feels more like high science fiction fantasy, where Star Wars was cool and it had the space magic and it had the laser swords and all that, and it was very much fantasy science fiction, but this was more, I want to say magical science fiction. It looked pulpy. It looked more over the top, more grandiose in presentation. Everything was vibrant. It was a lot of muted colors and a lot of Technicolor, and it was, it looked like almost like someone threw up Crayola all over the film. It's super bright and it's colorful, and I really, really enjoy the story of it. We get a football player from Earth. He's played by none other than Sam Jones. Now, I've heard rumors, I don't know if this is true, but I've heard rumors that Sam Jones was such a bad actor that after he did all of his work on Flash Gordon, they actually hired somebody to come back in and dub over his voice to do his lines for him, because he just didn't have that it factor. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. I didn't look it up to research it, but that's just a little bit of like urban legend trivia that I had heard about Flash Gordon. But we got Sam Jones in this. He's the football player. He gets taken away to another planet, and there's the evil Emperor Ming, and he is played by Max von Sydow. And so he's, the whole purpose of this is for Flash to take down Ming. And we have an eclectic, all just beautiful cast of characters that are developed enough that they could have their own stories told in a spin-off film or show or something like that. Because, we have Brian Blessed as Vultura. I can't remember his name. It's something like that. But he's, the big winged barbarian looking dude, and he's so cool. He's great. He's boisterous. He's funny. He's like, Flash Gordon. He's that guy. And we have Timothy Dalton, who's a prince, and he's the swashbuckling debonair. He's got that pizzazz about him that gives you that little razzle dazzle. And there's all these different scenes, there's all these different situations that these characters find themselves in, and the dialogue is great. Now, Flash Gordon, it's been around for quite some time. I mean, it was a pulp comic book, pulp story back in, I think, the 1920s or 30s. And, it's evolved over the decades, over the years. In fact, I think it's about time we have another Flash Gordon movie made, because, in all honesty, Flash Gordon doesn't have a universe, like Star Wars or Aliens or anything like that. Like, it doesn't have a universe where it's like Flash is here and Ming is here, and then we have this, this big giant galactic war type thing. It's all pretty much self-contained stories of him fighting Ming. So I think that, and I'm not one to usually say, hey, we need a remake, or hey, we need a sequel to a film, especially something like Flash Gordon. But if I'm being honest, I would love to see a remake of Flash Gordon made with today's technology. It's either going to be really good or it's going to be god-awful. And I'm here for either one of them, because either one of them I get to have, I get to experience and see whether it's good. And if it's bad, I can come on here and tell you guys, it's not worth your time. But they got to make one first. But I really like Flash Gordon. And the funny thing is, all these people that grew up in the 70s and 80s, they love Flash Gordon. I mean, Flash Gordon has been it's been a pop culture thing. It's been mentioned in other films, other movies. The movie Ted, for instance. I mean, they talk about Flash Gordon in that. They even have Sam Jones in it. I mean, it really is one of those seminal works of science fiction cinema, especially from the decade of decadence at the very beginning of it, before we had crazy, wild special effects. This was all done by hand, model, set design, production design, Let's applaud the carpenters and the little guys who put these sets together, these intricate, beautiful sets, these just highly detailed things that they act on, that they're in these scenes. The carpenters are the ones who made that. I mean, the director brings out everybody's talent, latent talent, but the carpenters, the production designers, the set designers, they're the ones who make this so believable. And it still stands the test of time today. Now, when you see Brian Blessed flying around with his big wings flapping in the air and he's like, ah, that's a dude that's just on a harness with some strings. In fact, you may even be able to see a little bit of the strings, but that's what adds to the charm and what endears it to us. Because it may not be, let's say, it's not an award-winning film. It's not a masterpiece by any means, but it's something that struck a chord in all of us at some point when we watched it. I only saw Flash Gordon for the first time in my mid-20s, maybe early 30s. But as soon as I watched it, I knew, I could feel it deep down in my heart of hearts and my bones. I could feel the reason that it connected with people. Now, could I verbalize it? No, but it just has that something, that nostalgia factor that just, it penetrates into your soul, and you're like, man, if I'd have seen this when I was 10, I understand. I understand why people hold it in such high regard. It's well worth your time if you get a chance to check it out. I actually own it on Blu-ray, and that's what I watched it on. Put it in one night before bed and just, to revisit it and have something lighthearted to go to sleep on. And man, it's such a phenomenal film, guys. If you get a chance to rent it or buy it or stream it somewhere, don't miss that opportunity. Check it out. It's well worth your time. That's it for Flash Gordon, guys. Thanks so much for hanging around and talking with me for just a little while about it. And, hit that like and subscribe button on your way out. And as always, I'm going to keep making them as long as you keep watching them. Peace out. God bless you, my friends, and I will see you soon.